And they said, and these are their words, we are having a breather, a bit of a relax before it all kicks off. Hello, you little tinkers and you little tinkettes. How are you doing? Are you going around being tinkers? I think we should. We need to be tinkers these days. Today I'm talking about why we're made this way. Why are we so weak and easily led? I'm also going to talk about why the emissaries came to me sitting in a deck chair drinking a tequila sunrise. And then I'm going to finish with a message from the Jesus energy. Buckle up, buttercup, because there's a lot to cover. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So as you've probably noticed, humankind is a bit willy-nilly. We're all a little bit wishy-washy. We're all a little bit bluff. Yeah, to use a onomatopoeic word. A bit bluff. What's that about? Well, I asked the emissaries that, and I said to them, why are we made this way? Why can't we just be strong? Why aren't we made dynamic and, Superman and everything like that? We could get through this so much better. And they said to me, well, that's exactly why. You were meant to be this way. Humankind is meant to be this way. They said that we have to come to this realm vulnerable. We need to be vulnerable. They said if we came here and we were impervious to the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, if we were impervious to that, there'd be no point in being here. There would be no point in coming here. We wouldn't learn anything. We would learn fuck all. If we came here and we were all prepared and strong and everything, then we would just get through it. We'd get to the other side and we'd go, well, that was a piece of piss, wasn't it? That was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And they said, that's not the purpose of why we come here. They said, imagine that there's an obstacle course. And imagine that rather than you running the obstacle course, you have an avatar that runs the course for you. And you just guide it, like a video game. La, 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 la. You're going to go through the obstacle course, you're going to go across the obstacles, but you're not attached to them. It doesn't affect you that much. You're just sort of guiding it. Rather, we have to have a real experience. We have to struggle to get over the obstacles. We have to fall and hurt ourselves. We have to graze our knee. We have to run to our mum crying. We need to experience all of this. Otherwise, it's not a real experience. Now, some of you might be saying, but Gordon, it's not a real experience anyway. This is all a virtual reality. And yes, I might be in agreement there, but it doesn't matter because we don't know that. You can say that if you want. You can say this is a virtual reality, but it hurts. We get into trouble. If you don't eat, you pass on. If you don't drink water, you pass on. It isn't that we can just say, well, yeah, it's a virtual reality, so I'm not going to take anything seriously. No, and there would be no point. That's not what it's about. And the emissary said something interesting, because we're talking about an avatar. There would be no point in having an avatar. And lots of people call, this the meat suit, the avatar. But basically, the emissary said this: we are here. Our consciousness is here. They said the higher self, don't think that you are the higher self and you're there guiding this avatar, this meat suit. They said quite the reverse. They said that the higher self is there as a guide, as a help, as a support, but it's not running the show. We are running the show. We. They said, yes, the higher self could sometimes take an obstacle away. But then they said, sometimes a higher self can put an obstacle there. Sometimes the higher self lowers the bar for us, and sometimes it raises the bar. So yes, it has some influence, but we are the ones that are doing it. And they also said, we have lots of help as well. And they said, you're not doing it on your own, but you are. The help is there, but it's only allowed to get involved so far. It can create those coincidences. It can make stuff, align. But the obstacle itself is what we have to climb over. And so that's why we seem to be so weak, because the idea is that we come here, we have these experiences, many of them not good, and we have the opportunity of learning from them. Once you've gone over an obstacle course, you know it. The second time, if you do an obstacle course twice, It's much easier the second time, as long as you've had a breather. It's easier the second time because you know it. You go, I know what I've got to do. I've got to grab it there and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the first time's always difficult. And so we learn. That's why we come here. We come here to learn from our difficulties and to learn to become better. But the only way we can do that is if we come without the skills. If we come with the skills, we're not going to learn anything. We're just going to go bim, bam, boom, boom, beam. There you are, done. That's not the purpose. We are here to learn. We're here to learn about the experience. We're here to learn about ourselves. We're here to find out who we are. And we're here to improve who we are. Which takes me on to the next part. I'm doing various messages now because I'm doing loads of interviews and I've got to get the messages out. And so the emissaries, I went to them and I said, how are you? And they flashed me this image of them all sitting in deck chairs on a beach with handkerchiefs, you know, the knotted handkerchiefs, the quintessential Englishman with a knotted handkerchief, and some of them were eating ice cream and other ones were drinking a cocktail, probably without alcohol, I would imagine. And it made me really laugh. It's like, wow, that is the weirdest image that have ever flashed me. And they were all sort of giggling and smiling. And I said, what's that? And they said, and these are their words, we are having a breather, a bit of a relax before it all kicks off. And I said, can you explain that a bit? They said, well, we are now officially in the last day's timeline. The sense I get, the way they keep talking about it, I must ask him about it. I get the sense that the timeline has shifted. Like they've talked about being in the split and how we're in a different timeline. I don't know when it happened. Might be 2020. Seems to be a very key year, doesn't it? But we're in a different timeline. We're in the last days timeline. And I asked them, I said, is our principal job to be here to just witness? Because, I've said this before and they've said it, like we're here to witness. And they said, everybody that comes here to witness. But that isn't necessarily the principal job. But it's certainly what everybody has to do. We have to be witnesses of this. But they said, all of us are here to act, to do something. And then they qualified it, which I thought was interesting. They said, however, we want to give you a bit of advice and to let you know that not everybody is here to do something wowzer, to do something enormous, to, go out there and make a name for themselves and tell the truth and all of that. They said, not everybody has that plan. Everybody has a plan, for sure. But they said, not everybody is here to do something enormous. Many of us are here to fulfill our plan, the plan that we wrote. And they said this, it's very important that we look at what it is that we're doing. What happens, and this is in my experience, what happens is when you wake up, and especially when you're in the front end of waking up, when you're going down the rabbit holes, you think, Jesus Christ, somebody has got to do something. And you look around and you think, not many people are doing stuff. There's not a lot happening. We're going to hell in a handcart. We've got to do something. And so we take it upon ourselves to become the bastion of truth-telling. We go around making scandal, basically. We think that we've got to shout it from the rooftops. I've seen endless posts of people who are like that, who were literally shouting, we've got to do something, you are all mad, you've got, and they get themselves into a right old titty fit. I think they get themselves all worked up. And the emissaries are saying, they said, not everybody has that job. In fact, the vast majority of us don't. And they said, so look at what you're doing. And they said, you've got to ask yourself, what I am choosing to do in terms of the Great Awakening, okay? What I am choosing to do, is it making me happy? Do I feel that I'm fulfilling my purpose? Do I feel in bliss? Because the bottom line is, when you were working in your purpose, you were feeling blissful. That's the present that the universe gives you. It's the prize, it's the gift that you work on your purpose and we will allow you to feel bliss. But work on something that isn't your purpose, something that goes against your purpose, and then you will not feel bliss. You will feel sadness and frustration and anger, etc. So the question that we've got to ask, this is what the emissaries are saying, we've got to look at ourselves and say, what I'm doing with my life, is it making me blissful? Am I in bliss? Now, if you listen to people who are the warriors and you talk to them, it's hard for them. It's hard for them. But when you talk to them, they say, but I'm doing what I have to do. I'm doing what my plan is. I've got to do this. Okay? But you can hear it. They are very proud of the fact that they're doing it. They feel that it's ordained. They feel that they've been guided to do it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But if you're doing it because you think you've got to do it because nobody else is doing it, and you hate doing it, and it's horrible and it stresses you out, but you're doing it anyway, the emissaries suggest that maybe that's not your plan. And you know, the bottom line is that everything is going to be resolved. Everything. The plan, there's a higher plan, there's a divine plan, and it's all written. And so even though we think, my God, I've got to do this, and this is my purpose and all of that, it's going to happen anyway. And so I think we can relax a little bit. I think we deserve to be able to relax into this. Do what you've got to do. Do what you've come here to do. But don't stress yourself about it. Relax into it. Enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, there's something wrong. You're either not quite on your path, you're either doing something that you really needn't do because there's somebody probably more equipped to do it. There's somebody who's going to do it who's going to be joyful as they do it. And that's all. I've been out on the streets with a megaphone. I've been out on the streets with you know, the signs and stuff like that. And I hated it. That is not my thing. Confrontation and all of that, not my thing. Some people thrive on it. They thrive on it. And they believe that that's what they're meant to do. It just depends on the person. Talking to you beautiful people, you little tinkers and tinkettes, that makes me blissful. I am blissful when I'm giving the messages from the emissaries. That's how I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Are other people doing more dynamic things and making bigger change? Yes, and beautiful. And they're doing what they have to do. And so all of us just have to do what we have to do. What we wrote in our plan before we came here. And all we need to do is meditate on it. And all we need to do is get in touch with our emotional body. If you're feeling blissful when you're doing it, you're doing the right thing. Continue. Do more of that. Keep doing what you're doing. And then I'm going to finish with the most bizarre thing that has happened to me in a long time. And it was this. Let me tell you how it started. So I'm on my little mount after I've run, and I'm praying, okay, and giving thanks and surrendering myself, the usual thing. And I finish. Every time I finish, I say, and I say this in Jesus' name, right? I just like saying it. It mightn't be your bag, but it's my thing, okay? I say it. Whenever I say it, every time I say it, the Jesus energy, which I sometimes talk to, comes to me and gives me a hug. And every time. And they always say, we are here. And I say, I know, I can feel you. Thank you. Often I don't get into a conversation. They just come and they hug me and I say, Amen, and then I carry on running. And it's very beautiful. But this time I did it and they talked to me. And I say this in Jesus' name. They came and they were like hugging me round the neck, right? And they whispered in this ear and they said, we have returned. Okay? You can tell them. That were exactly their words. And I went, and they said, we are here now fully and completely. We have returned. And you could tell them. And they said it like 3 or 4 times. They said, tell them that anyone can reach out to us and we will help them to feel love and peace and calmness and joy. That's what they said. And I thought, hang on a minute, wait a minute. Jesus has returned. Now understand, when I'm talking to the Jesus energy, they do not profess to be Jesus, but they say that they have the Christ consciousness. They are the Christ consciousness. And I thought, Christ has returned? You know, it's been prophesied for a while, hasn't it? And that's what they said. You can tell them. So that's what I'm doing. What does it mean? Well, I did ask them afterward. I thought, I've got to ask them. You know, is this tied to the prophecies and stuff like that? But I'll tell you about that in another video. But that is my job. I've got to tell you. They told me to tell them, and they were talking about you. Tell them that we have returned, and all you need to do is reach out to them. When I reach out to them, I say, can I talk to the Christ consciousness? And they answer, right? That's all that you need to do. Just be in a calm place. Talk to them and trust the answers that come. Even if you think that you're making them up, trust me, after a while, they spoke into this ear and they said, we have returned, you can tell them. I didn't make that up. I didn't think, what would the Jesus energy say? That's what came to me. If you do it, the same can happen to you. All you've got to do is have confidence. Have faith that you're not going mad. Have faith that you're not just making it up. We might make up a bit, okay? We might make up a lot. But if you do it long enough, you're going to start to hear things that didn't come from your mind. Get in touch with them. Tell them that you want some love, you want some joy, you want some peace, you want some help. That's what they said. They're here to do that. So, let me know. And let me know in the comments this. Do you channel? Do you have conversations with beings that you can't see, but you can hear or feel or whatever? If you do, I'm interested because I think that this is happening more and more and more. The more people I talk to, the more people are telling me, well, you know, and many people are doubting themselves. Many people don't want to talk about it because they feel a little bit reticent, you know, to say, yeah, well, I'm having chats with, you know, off-world beings. But put in the comments if you have and how long you've been having these chats for. And also, just add what the principal message of those beings is. What are they there to tell you and to tell us? I love you all and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.